A slayer is a man who has it all, man. Whether he was born with it, whether he worked for it, it is going to be a man who dominates in all of the categories of attraction. So, he's got the height, he's got the face, he's got the status, the charisma, everything. Women flock to him. He is going to be the most unresistible man that anybody has ever seen. But today, what I'm actually going to do is a fun video. I'm going to break down 10 of the best slayers throughout history, men who are undeniably doing incredibly well with women. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get it. Before we kick it off, we have a couple honorable mentions that really should be in the top 10 list, but they've got a couple things holding them back. Number 1 and 2 is going to be arguably the most famous celebrities of all time. This is going to be Michael Jackson in his prime. Prime as in like his Thriller era, when he was looking pretty good. He was the most famous person on earth, man. Like, no one could touch Michael Jackson. Say what you want about him, say, oh, he's this, he's that. He was a slayer. Like, there's no denying it. He was probably flooded with anything he wanted. Prime Justin Bieber would be there, but unfortunately, my guy's a little bit short to categorize that. But this is a great example of guys whose SMB carries them. Like, if they were shorter, if they don't quite have the face, whatever it is, they're still going to be a slayer, man. There's no woman on the planet who's going to deny them. And Elvis Presley is also in this category. Also, I'm going to be honest, man, just about any famous musician is in this category. Once your SMB is this high, especially with that musician bad boy type of vibe, you can literally get just about any single girl that you want. Musicians probably slay more than anybody else in the world. Timothée Chalamet is also an honorable mention. Girls go crazy about him. Unfortunately, he's not quite tall enough, and a lot of people in the Looks Maxi community, they have a debate about his face. I think he's very, very handsome. He's a good-looking dude, but he doesn't quite have all the boxes to be the ultimate slayer. Same thing with Jacob Elordi. He's very, very attractive, very tall. He's at the ideal height. He's got a great physique, but the face could be a little bit better, as well as the SMV. I think he's more popular with Western people, but you go to Asia, you go to some of these other countries, a lot of people have no clue who he is. Machine Gun Kelly's also going to be in that rock star musician type of category. Huge SMB, huge slayer, but not quite the top 10. Jason Momoa is also an honorable mention. Zac Efron in his prime was literally untouchable. Kind of the same thing with JB. The height just was not quite there. Number 10 is going to be probably the most debatable one on the list, but it's going to be Connor Murphy, man. And for a couple of reasons. First of all, I collaborated with Connor. I personally like Connor Murphy, and I grew up watching his videos. I loved his content and how women would just lose their crap whenever he was taking off his shirt. And yeah, he doesn't quite have the SMB as some of the other people, even in the honorable mentions. But you take away SMB from these people, Connor, for the height, the face, the physique, his physique in his prime was freaking insane. You cannot argue that he was a straight slayer. Like, he made a video, literally, he would get with an infinite amount of girls on a daily basis, multiple, all throughout a regular day, man. He was a slayer in his prime, so he is going to be number 10 on my list. Also, there is a huge debate with his height. I don't really know where the 6'1" comes from, but Connor Murphy is confirmed to be roughly 6'3". I think he's a little bit taller because all of the he was taking. I think he's closer to 6'4". He's very tall in person, and seeing him with some other photos of some other people completely height mogging them to oblivion, you cannot do that at 6'1". So I think he's closer to 6'4", if I'm being honest, and obviously my height's confirmed at 6'6". So if Connor Murphy looks pretty close to me height-wise, he's pretty tall. Paul Walker, a slayer that a lot of people for some reason don't even bring up very frequently. Facially, he's one of the most attractive men throughout Hollywood, man. He's at least an 8 to a 9 out of 10. Very handsome. 6'2", he's at the ideal height. He was an A-list movie star. He had one of the most aesthetic female gaze physiques possible. And let's not forget, the star of the Fast and Furious series. A lot of people, they don't actually realize how crazy popular the Fast and Furious movies are. Like, literally just about anybody in the world has seen Fast and Furious. They're familiar with Paul Walker. So he is number 9, absolute slayer. Chris Hemsworth. You guys knew this one was going to come on here. I don't talk about Chris Hemsworth enough. Chris is like 6'4", and he is quite literally Thor, man. He has an SMV through the roof. Lots of women, lots of people have considered him to be the most attractive Avenger. If anybody could replace him in this little slot, I think Chris Evans, he's up there as well. Very attractive guy. He's a little bit shorter, and honestly, I think Chris has a little bit more appeal. I feel like I've seen people go crazier for Chris Hemsworth, and overall, I think he's facially a little bit more attractive, and he kind of has an edge physique-wise. Now, some things that pull him back is that I do not think that he's natural. I think he's a little bit too large, if I'm being honest. I think before his role as Thor, he actually had a much more aesthetic physique, and then he got too big to where it's not as female gaze, it's more male gaze, bodybuilder-esque. But if Chris Hemsworth was not married, you cannot tell me that this man cannot literally get any single girl that he wants to. He has the height, he has the frame, he has the physique, he has the face, money, SMV, status, literally all maxed out like crazy. Your guys' favorites man of the year, who is not number one. This is gonna be Chico, man. Now Chico is roughly about 6'5". He's actually said in Q&As on his Instagram, he's 195 centimeters. I'm 198 to put that in perspective. So he is roughly the same height as me. If he were to be doing these reaction videos, it would look just about the same actually. Now Chico is one of the most attractive men on the planet, man. A lot of people have actually considered him to be literally the most attractive man. His SMV is through the roof. He's got a huge fan base, even with girls. Extremely female gaze physique, everything. Now, the one thing that is holding Chico back from obviously being number one is his looks right now. Like, I love Chico. I actually have some mutual friends with Chico, but unfortunately, he did not age super well. And I think it comes down to a couple things. Biggest things probably obviously having kids, having a wife. You don't really care about your looks as much, especially when you got your paychecks. It's not as much of a priority. But when it comes to becoming a Slayer, you cannot just have the Slayer looks for a couple years and then you're cooked for the rest of your life, man. You got to keep this up at least until you're 50 years old, man. Like, if you cannot sustain the looks of being a Slayer, I don't think it's for you for life, man. Number 6 is going to be Robert Pattinson, the man himself. Now, a lot of women were obsessed with him during Twilight. Just his facial aesthetics, everything. A lot of scientists have actually said that he has the most symmetrical, attractive face. A lot of looks maxing raters will rate his face an 8 out of 10 facially. He has respect from men. Women go nuts over him. He's got the SMB. He's got the money. He's at the perfect height of 6'2". He seems very chill, down to earth, charismatic. This man can probably get just about any single girl that he wants to. He has all of the characteristics of a Slayer. He is number 6. Now, if you want to become a Slayer, obviously, you got to be optimizing your looks, your height, freaking everything. And I've got you hooked up, man. So, starting off, you need to pick up Aries Rage. This is going to be my testosterone boosting supplement on kalosique.com. Use the code Aries right now to get 25% off. Now, this contains 400 milligrams of Tunga Elite, twice the amount of our leading competitors, which has been scientifically proven to boost testosterone by up to 37% after only 12 weeks of taking this supplement. It's got maca, which Peruvians used to take before going to war because it made them so freaking aggressive. It's got 50 milligrams of zinc, which is the maximum amount you can have, which is a precursor to creating testosterone. It has an herbal blend, which is insane for boosting testosterone, shredding fat, building muscle, everything. This is the best testosterone supplement on the market, not from just what I sell, but anything you could possibly purchase. Now, you need to be taking Titan Growth 2.0 with this as well. I've always said this, 92% of Americans across all social classes are deficient in basic vitamins and minerals. When this happens, IGF-1 human growth hormone shuts down and it closes your growth plates. So, you need enough vitamins and minerals, and the best way to do that is by taking Titan Growth 2.0 on a daily basis, which is 500 to 1000% of all your daily required nutrients to optimize your height growth. Don't forget to join my school, Kalos VIP. This is my school of looks maxing with my 3-hour looks maxing masterclass, 2-hour height growth masterclass, 90-minute female nature masterclass. Right now, we have my social media masterclass. I already have almost 30 minutes of content. Every week, there's going to be new content. Every 2 weeks, we hop on a group VIP call. This is the best school of self-improvement. Right now, it's only $12. Link in the description to sign up. Number 5 is not even close to debatable. He could be number 1 if I'm being completely honest, but it is going to be Henry Cavill himself. I've never seen women over the age of 25 thirst for a man quite so much as Henry Cavill. Guys thirst for him, women are obsessed with him. He seems down to earth, he's humble. He's in the ideal height range at 6'1". He has a very, very attractive face. I would say at least an 8 out of 10 facially. He's been keeping up with his looks, insane SMV. Just about every single person knows Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is number 5, very, very insane slayer. Cristiano Ronaldo, number 4, aka CR7. Now, this guy, he's almost up there with like the Michael Jackson, JB level of fame. He is one of the most famous people on this planet. He has an insanely shredded physique. He has looked handsome for the past 20 years or so. He has a very attractive face, at least a 7.5 out of 10. He has very good style. He's always seen with women. Insane SMV, insane status, insane net worth, man. He is one of the ultimate slayers. This is another debate for number 1, man. All these people, like, it's so hard to choose this list because they're all just so dominant in their fields. And Ronaldo, honestly, it's hard to beat him, man. It's really hard to beat him at this point. But I got a couple more people ahead of him. Let's see who we got. You knew this was going to be here, and you knew it was going to be kind of high, just because he's low-key my man crush. This is a little bit controversial, but it's Brad Pitt. He's going to be number 3 on my list, above Ronaldo. Now, Brad Pitt, the one thing holding him back is that he is not in the 6'+". You know, like if he's on a dating app, for example, he's not famous, he puts 5'11", all of a sudden, girls are like, oh, I don't know if I even, it's crazy, you know, like, but Brad Pitt, especially with his SMV, his status, he's one of the most famous men on the planet just for his looks, just for his acting ability. He's easily number 3, man. He's got all of it, can literally get any single girl he wants to. And the number 1 thing, get this, he has sustained his looks for his entire life, man. This guy's in his 60s and he still looks like a Chad. He still looks handsome. He's still charismatic. And that is another thing. He's got more charisma than anybody else on this list. This dude is crazy charismatic. That's number 3. Now this man, he breaks a lot of rules actually that I've already placed set in stone throughout this video, but it's going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, he doesn't look as good as he used to be when he was young. In his prime, he was at least an 8 out of 10 facially. He looked very good, ideal female gaze, lean, athletic physique, insane SMV to where girls are obsessed with him. But the reason he's number 2, man, is because of his status, and not just that, his dating reputation. He has the reputation to where he dates models up until the age of 25. He's only dated young models his entire life, and it seems like there is a never-ending line of girls who want to date and be with Leonardo DiCaprio, man. He might have one of the best SMVs in the world for dating specifically. Like, a lot of people are famous, they're well known, but not in the sense as like the most famous playboy. I would say Leo is the most famous playboy in the world, and a lot of women, they want to get with him just because of this. They want to see what all these other girls are experiencing, so he's number 2 on the list. Number 1 is Dolph Lundgren. Now Dolph, he's a little outdated. A lot of you guys are not super familiar with Dolph, but he's number 1 for a couple reasons. Number 1, he's at the ideal height of 6'5". This has been rated the most attractive height. Now let's talk about the physique. The physique is freaking insane. Like, he literally looks and looked like a Greek god for most of his life. And he's aged very, very well. Even to this day, he still looks handsome. He still looks attractive. His SMV, his money, everything, he is freaking hard to beat. But the number 1 reason I actually made him number 1 as opposed to everyone else in this list is his IQ. His IQ was the last little puzzle piece that put him above the rest, because this dude is freaking wicked smart. He has a genius level IQ, like literally genius level. He has a black belt. He's dated supermodels. He's dated all these female celebrities. This dude is the ultimate slayer because he's maxed out in every single stat. And there's no debating that whatsoever, man. That's my list of top 10. Let me know what I got wrong. Let me know who's on your list of top 10. And that's it, man. I love you guys. Subscribe and peace.